Okay, we are live. We are live.
Oh, maybe the other one, that Trump's guy, the guy, director of counterterrorism, who resigned. I don't know.
Yeah.
You read a little bit about that? Yeah.
Ah, okay. So now just for let's share. Take a minute to share, and then we can get going.
You send,
Sorry.
you don't send the link. Okay.
Okay, trying to put out the link right now. Okay. Give it a minute.
Ready?
Uh, yep.
Still good?
Yep. Ready.
Yeah. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the special midweek edition of the Talk. Again, it is a pleasure to have you. Today, me and my favorite host, we're coming to you earlier than usual. We have schedule, high schedule tomorrow. We're happy to have you here, and I'm grateful again as I'm too fast accepting to change last minute. But we're not going to be here for long because we've got work and other commitments for tonight. So we just have a few topics we're going to go through rapidly, just quick firing, and then I'll call it a day because he will be out of here by 8 p.m. Mountain Standard Time for work tonight. Just to remind you guys again, we like to let you guys know we are not experts on this topic. We just two guys who share ideas, who are very interested in world politics, politics in our respective countries. So these are kind of things that interest us. If it does interest you, no, comment to the comment section or request to join. I'm happy to have you on. Please again like and share and comment if this is something that excuse me, that interests you. For topics of today, I think we have three broad topics. So we're just going to spend a little bit of time on each. Try not to drag it or make it extensive. Been in the past. For the first topic, we just like the update on the Iran war. I mean, well, we all know different sides of this issue. And the second topic, we talk about the recent changes in the legislature. They have a new president of the Senate and president of the National Assembly. We'll touch on that a little bit. And finally, we'll be talking about the CAF decision to strip Senegal of the recently ended Cup of Nations, took place in December in Morocco. So these are just broad topics. So give each maybe 10, 15 minutes, depending on how it is. But we're only here to like 7:50. Okay. Yeah, so a lot has happened since we last met. Many things in the international scene. I have a few on my mind. Of the Strait of Hormuz, which has become the center point of conversation since the Iran war. Trump's demand for other countries to be able to come to maintain the safe passage of ship in that part of the world. And then another part is the recent dissenting voice in the Trump administration, one of the most high-ranking members who resigned today. His name is Joe Kent, director of counterterrorism. Director of the counterterrorism, he did resign. So yeah, with that in mind, what are your thoughts? I know those are kind of broad.
Why don't you start? I usually start. Maybe you start this time. You want me to start? I wanted you to kind of start this time around, so
Okay, sure.
we
Yeah,
start on that note.
I'll go.
For some reason, I feel like you're breaking. The sound breaks.
What
I'm
do you
not
get?
sure if it's me or it's you. I'm not sure.
Do you get me now?
Yeah, it sounds
It's,
better. Yeah. hmm
I don't know what's going on.
No, it's fine. You can go on. I could hear you.
Okay. Yeah. Sorry about that. Yeah. So the Strait of Hormuz has become a very interesting part of this war with Iran, and I think Iran is still has a lot of capability. Apparently, is almost brought it to a halt, and there's no safe passage of ship and other cargo carrying vehicles because they are under the threat of the Iranian government, so they can be shut down. The U.S. and the Israeli government is concerned. Also, there's rising tension in different parts of the world, in Europe, China, because this is one of their main ways to receive energy and supply energy to different parts of the world. We are also feeling the heat in North America. I mean, if you've been to the gas station recently, you can tell how much gas costs right now. In many places, it's gone up 50%. So people are paying more at the pump. So whether you're involved in the war or not, it's affecting you. I read earlier that about 20% of all the world's oil passes through that strait. So a lot has been going on, basically come to a halt. So recently, Trump called on um, other countries who are invested in these, who receive oil or sell oil through that part, to be able to come to his aid and secure the passage of ship. So far, he's not gotten any positive response from many countries, so that's concerning for the Trump administration. Um, um, I think it's the main part of concern right now in regards to war. Another part is the killing of the secretary of I'm not sure if it's parliament or whatever of Iran, Ali Lajani, and one of the most top ranking officials who have been killed after Ayatollah Khomeini. So that happened today in the strike. So it is concerning. The gas price has not gone down much as I predicted last week. If it continues to happen that way, Americans are going to feel a pinch and a lot of pushback in Trump's administration. I think we saw that today. His reasons might not directly be from the gas prices going up, but he cited joking. I'm talking about. He cited this is really Iran did not pose any direct threat to America. So there's a lot of questions around that we can delve into. So um, my assessment is like Trump is trying to get the world invested in what's going on in that strait. Not a very positive response from the world. So he might need to reassure the American people that this is not going to go longer than they expected. Because the more it goes on, and people are going to be worried about, and he risks losing next upcoming election to the House and the Senate. That's my prediction. I hope it doesn't get into that level, but I don't think if my prediction, if this war continues the way it is, Americans will be increasingly become worried about the effect at home and whether it was a good decision for Trump to go in anyways. What are your thoughts?
I think it was a terrible decision. That's why Donald Trump did not even bother to sell it.
Yeah.
In our previous episodes, we've talked about, Donald Trump is not the first United States president who started a war. He's not the first. He's like every United States president has to start a war. It feels like it's a tradition. Mm-hmm. Now, the difference between all these other presidents, the difference between the Bush for Iraq, Obama for Libya, Joe Biden for Ukraine, is that Donald Trump did not even bother to convince the American people that this war was necessary. He did not take the time. It is like he put the cart before the horse. Mm-hmm. And expected that this was going. It was never going to work. George Bush formed a coalition to attack Iraq. I mean, there was no justification for an attack to Iraq, right? But at least he managed to form a coalition of his
allies,
if you want. But me, I call them his from Europe and other parts of the world. Obama, when he went into Libya, had his NATO allies and other European states. He was able to convince them, or they were able to convince each other, that the war was necessary or that they needed to attack. Joe Biden, when the Ukraine war started, he somewhat formed a coalition with the Europeans to defend Ukraine, right? Donald Trump did not bother to do that. He did not bother to sell the war to the American people. He did not bother to sell the war to the rest of the world. And now that he's stuck, he's trying now to bring the rest of the world to him. Mm-hmm. It's a failure. No country would want to taint themselves with this. If he was able to sell the war before it happened, they would have already been in, just like they were in when they got into Iraq. I mean, things got rough and got bad, but they had bought the war and they were there. They could not abscond or could not leave, right? But this time around, it's like you said, water the tea for up or whatever, right? And then you expect them to drink. No, they are not going to drink. It's dirty, right? So that's the point I wanted to make. Like, Trump did not bother to sell the war. Now he's calling on his allies to join. Nobody wants to get involved in this. Nobody wants to. Not the United Kingdom, not China. I mean, it's absurd that Donald Trump would think that China would come to rescue him. Mm-hmm. Impossible. There's no way China is ever going to do that. China is never going to come to the rescue of Donald Trump. Maybe they could come to the rescue of the United States, but not while Donald Trump is in power. They have a terrible relationship.
Right.
South Korea is not willing to do this. First of all, you've taken all their air defense missiles. They're upset with Trump about that fact, that when things got rough in Israel, he went and pulled out air defense missiles from South Korea. Now South Korea is vulnerable to attacks from maybe North Korea or Japan or whoever. And then you expect them to come to your rescue. They are not. Donald Trump is going to take the responsibility of this failure, and he's going to handle this responsibility alone. If this war succeeds, he's going to take the glory alone. If it fails, he is going to be failing alone. I mean, Israel, they don't care. Israel does not care. Israel does not care how this war turned. Their objective was to attack Iran. I don't think anybody planned for how this war was going to happen. I think Donald Trump himself seemed, or his administration seemed surprised why Iran was still fighting. I mean, after saying that we've neutralized this, we've killed this, we've killed their leaders, Iran is still fighting.
Yeah.
And they are surprised why it's happening. All of them are surprised why this thing is still happening. And they are either at the end of the day, they are going to blame the United Kingdom, they are going to blame their allies, they're going to blame NATO, like Trump has just been doing. They're also beginning to blame the press, that the press is not is partial in how they've chosen to cover the Iran war. I mean, you can't pretend. I think it's just like a camera. It produces what it sees. I think for me, that is what the press it doesn't matter that is Donald Trump.
Right.
The press has decided, for whatever reason, or maybe because it's Donald Trump, the press has decided to be a little honest with themselves. So they are holding Donald Trump accountable. They are holding the administration accountable. They will not let them go. I remember the press holding him to account on the 100 and something children that they dropped bombs on in Iraq. They are not going to let Trump go. They are questioning Trump. Did you not know that Iran had the capacity to close the Strait of Hormuz? When you were planning your war, did you not anticipate that Iran had the capacity to do that? Did you not anticipate that if they do that, they are going to take away a large quantity of oil from the global market? Did you not anticipate the price hikes? Did you not anticipate Iran's capability? I think when you underestimate your opponent, you fail to study the opponent, right? You fail to study the opponent, and because you fail to study your opponent, it is very likely that your plans are not going to go the way you think. Because they did not study Iran properly. They did not study how many missiles they had. They did not understand their drone capacity. They did not understand the ability to close the Strait of Hormuz. They understood nothing about Iran. They did not even understand that killing all the top leaders, the ayatollahs and the military, that it was not going to change anything. For some reason, they did not factor that out in their plan. Now they are stuck with a war that they cannot really say they won. Donald Trump can say they are winning 20 times, 30 times. The facts on the ground makes it hard to really say America is winning the war. What does it mean to win the war? I think that's a very important question to say. Again, Iran does not need to win. Iran needs to survive. That is all Iran needs to do. Iran needs to survive the campaign. That's all. Now, how does Donald Trump and his administration pull out of this war? How do they pull out of this war when there's no clear victory? I think that is where we are clearly going to have an issue. It's not the media. The facts on the ground are very clear. Missile defense system, porous, not working. Iran is still hitting Israel every day. The missile defense system in Saudi Arabia not working. Iran is still hitting Saudi Arabia. There are drones flying into United Arab Emirates. There are drones attacking Kuwait. Yes, you can shoot a few, but it's demonstrated that the iron dome, whatever they call that, is plastic. Now it's because it's porous. It's never been this porous. It is the very first time that you have, again, we don't even know how many people have died in Israel because they would not release those figures. We don't even know really clearly how many people have been injured because they will not release those figures, right? So at this point, we're going by face value. And yes, Iran might be taking a serious hit. They're getting a serious pounding. There's no lie about that. But again, the attackers cannot claim that they are winning because they are not winning. Again, talk about the effect on the energy markets. America cannot say they are winning when the price of fuel is. I mean, I went by a gas station today. It's $1.55. $1.55. That's the highest it's been for a long time.
Canada is not even involved.
And Canada is not even involved. So it really does not matter. So Donald Trump went out and carried, like we say in Africa, you go out and you carry firewood with soldier ants on them. That is what America did. It's affecting everyone. Canada, it doesn't matter. Canada, Europe, the worst is going to be Europe. To the point, to the point where Donald Trump is issuing licenses for countries to buy sanctioned Russian oil. Remember when Russian oil was a taboo a few months ago, where you couldn't even talk about? I mean, those who were buying it were only buying it in hiding. Now they are giving them license to buy Russian oil.
Mhm.
Can you imagine how much money Russia is going to make before this thing is done?
Mhm.
Russia is selling billions in oils a day, billions in oil a day. Talk less of fertilizers, because there's a lot of fertilizer traffic that goes to Russia. Is in the business. Russia is going to make a windfall before this war ends. And Russia and China, Russia is going to be the winner at the end of the day. Russia is going to be the winner at the end of the day. Again, talking about the Strait of Hormuz, Ghana, before I end, talk too much. Iran is claiming that the Strait of Hormuz isn't closed. Yesterday, a Pakistani ship passed through got authorization from Iran to go through the Strait of Hormuz.
Mhm.
Indian ships are going through, Chinese ships are going through, Russian ships are going through. And Iran has made it very clear. American and Israel and ships from Israel who carry the Israel, they are not going through. But any other country that wants to go through the Strait of Hormuz can make a request directly to Iran. Iran controls the strait.
Mhm.
That is a fact. So if you want your ships to go through, you negotiate, make a deal with Iran, and have your ships go through. Again, like I said, yesterday Pakistani ships were going through the strait, right? Chinese ships are going through. So it's not like it's closed. It's close to the United States and to Israel. That's it. Anyone else can, and I believe very strongly that that's why the other states are not willing to get involved. They don't want to force this. They don't want to force it. I heard Donald Trump saying the other day, we don't even know if it's the Strait of Hormuz is mine. We are not sure how. But again, who is willing to go try?
Mhm.
These are aircraft carriers, expensive, 30 billion and more. Do you want to use 30 billion for an experiment? Nobody wants that. That's why their ships are hiding far from the arena of war. You think the United Kingdom wants to bring their ships so that Iran can sink them? No, they don't want that. So at the end of the day, this fight is Trump's fight. He is going to fight it alone. If he wins, good for him. If he loses, he is going to take the humiliation and the shame on alone, and nobody's coming to his rescue. That's what I wanted to say, Ghana. Sorry.
Yeah, not to delve so much on the topic. We got to move on quick.
Right.
I don't know if it needs to sell this topic or sell the war of Iran to the American people. Obama said, Hillary Clinton said it, Biden said it, Kamala all said that Iran was a threat. So there's no need. Most Americans thought Iran was a threat. So who wanted to go in was the question. But all of them had designated Iran the number one sponsor of terrorists. Two, press. Sure, the press, it is our right to question Trump on anything, but we cannot argue that the press has been biased towards Trump. This is not the first time. His first term, even when he was not in office, there was severe media coverage against Trump, negative media coverage against Trump. That's not new. It's really in all articles. And last, winning. Winning is a very complex issue. Okay, what does win mean? What does win for US mean? What does win for Iran mean? So, like I said last week, you take some of the wins, you take some of the losses. You cannot come out clearly winner. But obviously, I think you have to divide it by primary target, a secondary target, and maybe a third target. So I think clearly to take out Ayatollah.
So when Trump goes around and say that we are winning, and what criteria do you think he's using to qualify the win?
Nuclear sites gone, ballistic media reduced more than 90%.
And then why are you still there?
Yeah. So
No, I mean facts. If you're winning a war, if you've won the war, why are you still there?
well, because
Why?
war is complex. Like we all agree, it's
So
easy.
why do you think that you're winning at this point? If you're I mean, when you win a war, you don't stay there and continue to fight. When you win a war, you leave.
Well, what? Like French still has soldiers in West Africa. They have left a
They
long
are
time.
not fighting a war.
They are what? But the point is, you have to divide these things into categories. You cannot bring a tertiary.
Do you remember when George Bush claimed victory in Iraq?
Well, what was George Bush's main target of going to Iraq? To destroy the weapons of mass destruction.
Was there any weapon? Were there
No.
weapons of mass destruction?
So we can
So when he declared that they won, how many years before the American soldiers left?
Oh, many years after.
So did they really win?
No.
Because if you're winning, why are you still there?
No.
That's my question. If Trump says they are winning, why are they still there? You cannot win and hang around.
Well, because it's different. Well, but I have to push back because most Americans don't think Americans won in Iraq. They thought it was a waste of time, a waste of money. They didn't discover any mass weapons of mass destruction.
Have they ever won a war? Has America really ever won a war?
Of course.
Which one?
War?
Which one?
The Second World
War. Second World War. They've never won a war after the Second World War. Give me one that they won.
I mean, okay.
North Korea, South Korea, they did not win. They did not win in Afghanistan. They did not really win in Iraq. They haven't won in Syria. They did not win in Libya. Which war has the United States won after the Second World War?
We're going into a tangent. We don't have a lot of time.
It's not a tangent. I'm just telling you that they have a history of failing.
Well,
that is the history I'm giving you. They have a history of failing.
I disagree.
They go into war blindly and they fail. They've never won a war.
Well, with your definition, nobody has ever won a war because
I mean
presidents or whatever.
Second World War, we had victors. There were people won the war. First World War, yes.
There were lots of people who died. There was still military bases because of Second World War.
It's not about death, Ghana. Because if it's about death, then nobody wins. So Trump should not be saying that the Americans won. Because if you're talking about death, like death is terrible. Unless you're saying that you win by the number of people you kill. But if you keep the death aside,
but you are the one making the argument that you win because the other people are killing or because you're still present. No, divide this thing according to goals. If your goal was to destroy the nuclear site, that's a win. If your goal was to destroy the ballistic missile, they are winning. They have brought it down to more than 90%. If your goal was to get out the top leaders, you are winning there. You cannot anticipate how long the wars. These things are very complex. They are moving pieces all the time. So it is hard to say for sure what constitutes winning. That's why I say you have to divide these things out because you cannot confuse what is a tertiary issue to be the primary issue.
We don't even know what the primary issue. You remember you tried to define what the primary objective was.
Every president of the US has articulated that Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. This should not be surprising.
If that is the primary issue, then they've won. And since you won, why are you still there?
Well, that's another argument now because there are other issues, there are other moving pieces. Okay, I mean, we should move to the next topic. But you have the last word for this one. Go.
I mean, I'm going to say there's no winning for Donald Trump. He can say that he's won. Again, there's no winning. Like I said earlier, America has not won a war since the Second World War.
Yeah.
Is it Vietnam? They didn't win in Vietnam. They didn't win in the Korean War. Iraq, they did not win in Iraq. Afghanistan is the worst loss they've ever had. Ukraine, they are still losing in Ukraine. And today we're in Iran.
We'll get your point. You make your point.
Lost.
Let's move. Let's move on. In Cameroon now.
Yeah.
In Cameroon, we have a lot of changes politically in the legislature. We have two people who have been elected today, all of them from the CPDM, obviously, as if there was any debate there. We have a new Speaker of the National Assembly in the person of Dotu. I cannot even pronounce his name. What's his name? Zotwa. He's from Bangu, I'm sorry, in the West region, parliamentarian from the CPDM. And then president of the Senate, another person who replaces 91-year-old Marcel Nyat. 91-year-old. He's been president since the Senate was created. I think it's about 12 years now. So he's been replaced by another CPDM parliamentarian, Abu Bakari from the north. We haven't heard much about these people. I mean, I read a little bit about the new guy. He has been the vice president of the vice speaker. So he's been assistant to Kavaye Jibril for a long time. So many people saw this as a natural ascent in his political career. He's now speaker, 66-year-old, replaces 86-year-old Kavaye Jibril. What were your thoughts when you read that today?
So the CPDM has majority in
Right.
the Senate and of course in the National Assembly. So whatever results we have today has been a decision of, I'm assuming, the head of state. Right. Some would argue that Paul Biya is too old, he doesn't know what's happening in the country, and that there's a cabal of ministers and top-ranking government officials running the show in Cameroon. Some would also argue that Chantal Biya is the one who is the puppet master and that she is puppeteering whatever it is happening in Cameroon. But again, I think my observations were that yes, it is good that change has come. I mean, we've complained about Kavaye Jibril. He's an old man who needs to be retired and resting in his house. So this is good news. Jifenji Nyat too is an old 81-year-old.
Can barely walk.
He's pretty old, can barely walk. I'm not sure if his faculties are right. So these are people who should be retired. And what I've noticed is that those who have come to replace them are relatively young. These are, in Cameroon terms, you might call them youth. These are relatively young individuals who have now taken the helm of these two bodies. And is that a sign? I don't know. But I'm hoping that this is a sign for better things to come. We have been waiting for a cabinet reshufflement for a long time now. So my hope is that if the president of the state is deciding to bring in fresh blood and to bring in younger people, then hopefully he can continue with this trend when it comes to appointing other ministerial and directorial positions.
Sorry to cut if he appointed, because these people were voted by their peers.
But again, when the president says this person replaces, I mean, what I know about Cameroon, the system, the CPDM system, is that Paul Biya dictates. It's top down. Paul Biya says, okay, this guy is going to be here. The whip of the CPDM party puts everybody in line. They go out and they do a vote, right? Which is more rubber stamping. But again, that is what the process requires, right? So in my opinion, the decisions are made way up there. The parliamentarians and the senators are notified of the decision and they go out and vote. Because typically you would I mean, was it just Theodore who wanted to be president of the Senate, of the National Assembly? I'm sure not. I'm sure there were other CPDM candidates who would have loved to be president of the Senate, and if they had the opportunity to maybe campaign and do a democratic vote like we do everywhere else, then I'm sure it would take time and there would be some. But again, we woke up today and that was the news. Did you even know that there was something significant like this happening?
I had no
idea. Knew. They showed up. And the decisions came to them, and then they voted. In my opinion, that is how Cameroon runs, and I mean that is how this process went. I don't think anybody knew that they were going to be voting on.
I don't know what the process is for this. But one thing is clear: if CPD has a majority, they can do and undo.
Of course.
It says a lot about those who are trying to get Isacho.
Oh, félicitations, président. Oui, c'est vidéo.
Oh, sorry, go ahead, Ghana. I just want to
put that those who were thinking Isacho, like this is what Isacho would have faced. Imagine he was president and he who has no say, according to who's going to be the Speaker of the House or the Speaker of the Senate, because he has no sway. He doesn't have any parliamentarians for his part. I think he has a few parliamentarians, maybe one or two, and I don't know if he has anybody in the Senate. So, the majority clearly wins, and they are still in control. They have put in young people. I think young people in quotes, but
for Cameroonian standards, they are young.
They're young. But I think we all appreciate the change, and hopefully we can have people who can speak clearly and you understand what they're saying. People who can walk straight and you know that these people still have some life in them and can defend Cameroon's interests, both nationally and abroad. So I see a lot of people more energized than their predecessors. I mean, look at Kavayage Jibril. He could hardly utter a word and you understand.
Yeah.
He was mumbling on there. Nyadnji was just, could even walk. He needed people to support him. He was so old, he barely take a step on his own. So, overall, much appreciated. I think that's still going to continue with the agenda of the CPDM. I don't know what's going to change in the political scene in Cameroon. It's just going to be a continuation. Now we just have younger people, and hopefully we can be able to articulate an idea or make a statement that we can all hear and able to work with the energy that we demand from people who hold such positions of authority in the country. So I share the same sentiment with you to welcome this much weighted change. Okay, we have an 86-year-old and a 91-year-old who left the post for somewhat younger people. That I think that's welcome. So hopefully they bring in fresh ideas to move the country forward, to make the country more representative of the people who them into that.
Talking about representation, Ghana, I wanted to kind of put this out here. The President Paul Biya, for me, has been the smartest politician in Africa's history. That's my personal opinion. And why I say this is based on how he has been able to manage the Cameroonian people. Yeah. We are not an easy group of people to manage. And this man seems to have a grip on everything that is going on in Cameroon. Let's take the elections or appointments, no matter however you want to put it. Okay. What did he do? He picked the Lamido,
right?
The Lamido of Ray. Well, I forget the name. Senator Abubakari Abdullahi. He is from the north.
Yeah.
Right? He is from the north. What does that do? It kills Issa Chiroma's ambitions completely. Because what do? You pick a son of the soil, a well-respected Lamido, who has a lot of influence in that area to represent the Northeast, right? And according to the Constitution, if the president dies, who takes over?
I think it's the president of the Senate now.
It's the president of the Senate, I believe. Right?
Yeah.
So you see how he positions that. So Issa Chiroma can say whatever he wants to say now. He has to compete with his brother from the north, right? So that is the first trap. Okay. He goes and they vote Theodore Datue, Speaker of the National Assembly. Yeah. He is from the Western Province. What does that do? Kamto is done. Because Kamto now has to be fighting. Because the way I know our people, you pick a son of the soil and you give them a position, they know they will not listen to anyone else. Because according to them, a bird in hand is worth 20 in the bush.
Yeah.
Whatever it is that you tell them, it's dreams and fairy tales. They have a Speaker of the House who has a little bit of influence, who can direct resources to that community. That is what Paul Biya has done. Now it's very obvious that the vice president would come from the Anglophone, from the English speaking. We've had the Prime Minister. We've had the Prime Minister from the Southwest for a couple of years now. In my opinion, we might have someone from the Northwest.
Tanganji.
Sorry?
Tanganji.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure it would be a Tanganji, but I likely someone from the Northwest. Once you put someone from the Northwest, I mean, what else would anybody want to say? We have the Prime Minister. What else do you want, right? So I feel like Paul Biya takes his time and he plans these things based on whatever is happening within the national territory, and he makes these appointments. They are strategic and they are important to how he runs the country. Somebody from the North has a very significant, important position. Somebody from the West has a very important, significant position, diminishes any opposition that might come from there. And then, of course, the Anglophones get their prime minister as they always do, right? And then sit there. And then, of course, there are other ministers and director delegates and so on and so forth. He spreads them to those elites, and then everybody stays quiet. I get a feeling that is what Popo has done. But the question for you, where is Issa Chiroma?
Where is he? He's in the Gambia. I don't know what he's doing. He has become as irrelevant as the word irrelevant means. He has no sway. He has nobody who talks about him. He has no support. Even his speaker, his spokesperson,
Madame Alice Com, is missing in action.
He's frustrated by his silence, his lack of directions, his lack of statements. Initially, they had said the Gambia was going to send him out. He was going to seek asylum in the United States, but that the Gambia government came. That was a fake post. So he's still in the Gambia. I don't think anything has changed. I don't think the Cameroon government is worried
about him
by Issa Chiroma. He has no sway. And I agree with most of what you said. The one thing I disagree, I don't think they were necessarily putting the Lamido from Ray Buba to counter Issa Chiroma. He doesn't have any leverage to move the Cameroon political scene in one direction or the other. He's abandoned his supporters, or you can argue his supporters abandoned him. So as soon as he left, he's been quiet and as ineffective, and he doesn't really communicate. Have you even gone to his social media page and see anything?
I went there today because I was hoping that something significant like this happened within the country. He claims that he's a president-elect. I was hoping to go see a statement from his Facebook page. I mean, even a video comment, even a video, not a single video statement, no comment on this issue. I mean, you could write a 5-page document in opposition to this if you really wanted to. So I went there hoping to see something. There was nothing. I went to Madame Alice Com's page, who is spokesperson. There's nothing. Not even a challenge, not a criticism, nothing. It dawned on me, like, is anyone still hoping that Chiroma has a mission or has a purpose or is able to do anything at this point?
I think most people have moved on. Most people don't care. Most people know deep within them that he did not really win. It was all a farce. He was just trying to cause as much instability as possible to be able to make his way to the president. But it didn't happen, okay? Like we talked the last time. I mean, you just need to go back and just follow discussion leading up to the election. We started talking about this in January of 2024.
Inactivity.
We predicted all of
warmness,
passive, inactive, lack of strategy, and the last blow was Council not qualified to be able to run for presidency. So Issa Chiroma was just the last dish of hope. He just gained popularity a few weeks into the election. There was no way. I don't think he has any leverage or is going to move. And before we move on to the last point, I was going to say, what does it say about the Cameroon political scene, where we only respond positively because we have people who are elected from our tribe? We respond positively because we have people who share the same region or the same village as you. It's almost sad, the state of affairs. Okay, then. They use divide and rule to be able to conquer you guys, and everybody is cheering, like everybody is really campaigning that someone from the village will take a position, and they in their bones and in their DNA feel that because this person is from my village or my region, he owes my village or my region a certain level of payback. Because so it's almost sad, the state of affairs, that people are not fighting in to advance the country, but they are really fighting for a particular group, a particular tribe, a particular region, if you want to go, and the national interest only comes secondary. I don't see how this moves the country forward. Politically, economically, socially. I feel like it's just stagnation. You are just there waiting for your turn, waiting for somebody who's from your village or your region to come in, and then you can get roads or development that you are owed. So it's crazy. But again, I share your assessment of Paul Biya. He understands the African politics like very African politicians do. He has got a grip of Cameroonians like very few people or presidents have gotten a grip of their population. Okay. He has them, and we said this many times, he has them in the palms on their hands, and he can mold it to whatever direction he wants. I think only death is going to take him out, and I don't know where Cameroon goes from there after he dies. Interesting to watch, but we'll cross that bridge when we get there.
Ghana, you mentioned Atanganji, and I think Victor Kameni is posing a question. Why would you, I mean, again, as briefly as possible, why would you think Atanganji is a suitable candidate or might be a suitable candidate for prime minister?
I mean, just building on the point of loyalty and how Buya understands what Cameroonians want. I mean, can you think of anybody as loyal to not necessarily Buya, but to
the government?
Of Cameroon, of how it's supposed to be run. Somebody that's loyal to Buya's interpretation of the constitution, or how governments are supposed to run. Somebody has turned as Atanganji, and people get a lot of flack to Atanganji. But just go back and think: is there anybody who has been as loyal, as committed to the government and the ideas and the wishes of the president of the republic than Atanganji in the past 5-10 years? I think he has been stellar. He has been strong. He has had strong conviction. And you can disagree. You can make a moral case against him or not. But talk of loyalty, Atanganji has been a loyal, fervent supporter of Biya. He knows how to play the game. He has held people to account. He did for Kamto. He did for Issa Chiroma. He did for there have been many government fights for churches, a religious aspect.
Some people argue that he not single-handedly, but he was very instrumental in quelling the uprising in the Northwest and the Southwest. He played a really very vital role in managing that conflict, and eventually killing the conflict or subduing.
He was one of the
resistance onto this point. Yeah, he was a fervent.
He didn't mix his words. No. He didn't say, "Oh, these people, they have a right to pick on weapons or whatever." I mean, he said there were grievances, but he's like, the government maintains a right to control the national sovereignty of the country and the territorial integrity. He stood on that point, and he has made that case from the. You may not like
the very start, yeah.
He has been loyal to the president's position on
the issue.
So if and I think I've articulated that earlier, if Paul Biya is appointed according to people who are loyal to his cause and for the Northwest region, I think Atanganji is a leading candidate. I don't know if I can think of any.
Seem to be the most prominent candidate so far from that part of the country, right? There are other very few prominent Northwesterners who are within the government who carry the kind of sway that Atanganji has in terms of his loyalty and his reputation for standing on behalf of the president, right? I think he's earned that. It would be foolish to try to deny him, whether you like him or you don't like him.
Names. You don't call other people other names like that because for a reason, because they have not stood in front and put your face and stood on principle the way Atanganji has stood. And a lot of people, and it comes down to how people describe people who are strict or are by the book. In Africa, you're called wicked. Okay, so most people call Atanganji wicked, not because he's done anything wicked, but because he is strict, he's principled, he's loyal.
Last item on our agenda, we take 5 minutes. Ghana, you have some information on CAF and the World Cup saga. And the African Nations Cup saga from Senegal to Morocco. Can you please give us a little bit of detail?
Well, we just woke up today. So many things have been happening today. Apparently, Morocco has been declared the winner of the last AFCON that took place in their territory back in December. We all saw what happened in the final. There was some scofflaw at the end of the game. Senegalese players walked out. They had to come back in and finish the game. The Moroccan player kicked the penalty miss, and then they went on to win the game in extra time. And they were crowned champions of Africa of this edition, but it's been almost 3 months after the fact, and CAF today just released a statement quoting Article 82 and Article 84 for why, and I'm just going to read that to a little bit, for why they think Morocco are the right one. I mean, these are the kind of things that you watch and you like. How do people take you guys seriously when you can make such a statement? But again, it is CAF's decision, and to be fair, they only came to this decision because Morocco appealed. Okay, and I'm going to read you a little bit of just a few points here. The appeal lodged by the Federation of the Royal American Football Association was declared admissible in the form, and appeal is upheld. The CAF disciplinary board decision is set aside. CAF appeal board further finds that the conduct of Senegalese team falls within the scope of Articles 82 and 84 of the regulations of the African Cup of Nations. The protest lodged by the Moroccan Federation is upheld. And Article 82, it is declared that the Federation of Senegal, through the conduct of the team, infringed Article 82 of the regulations of African Cup of Nations. So they're basically holding up two articles, 82 and 84. For one, that if you leave the pitch, you forfeit the game. Okay, or any discomfort, you forfeit the game, and that was the final. So if Senegal forfeited the game, it's supposed to be Morocco.
So Morocco only realized that these articles existed
after the loss
of the game, because if Senegal had forfeited the game, why
Right.
did you go back into play?
Right.
Why did Morocco play? And I mean, when you get victory like this, how do you rejoice? How do people see you in the first place? I don't. Nobody would ever. They might have won on paper, but every person knows that Senegal won. They can take the cup, they can seize the trophies, they can take the title, but
it's
it
not
would only be on CAF's documents that Morocco won. Everybody else would know that Senegal won. So I'm not sure why would you go to the extent of
and why did the ref not
baffles me.
call the game? In my opinion, the ref you just call the game and end the game and give it to Morocco. That's it. You should have ended. I think from my point of view, that's the biggest disservice, because the ref did not end the game. He should have ended it based on these articles. I mean, before you refer finals of a competition, you should be familiar with this. If players leave the pitch, it calls for an end of the game and they forfeit the match.
It wasn't even only the referee. We had the CAF president was sitting right there.
Is
I'm
it?
sure his legal team was sitting right there. Fine.
Yeah.
If the referee did not realize the infringement on the article, it wouldn't the president send message to the referee or to the second or the fourth referee standing outside and say, hey, these people have walked out of the pitch, the game is forfeited? No, they didn't do that. They let them come back onto the pitch, they played the game, played extra time, won the game, presented medals, handed the trophy, and then come back a few months later to say, you didn't win, you forfeited because you went out. So Morocco now is
they are champions. Yeah, and I think Senegal is going to appeal, but we'll see what goes from there. We'll
appeal of the appeal. The appeal.
Anyways, yeah, thanks for staying. I know you guys work to run to, and thanks for our viewers who watch. Who keep.
So we have just a few names, so I think we should kind of recognize. So we have Victor Kameni, who is always he's a very
fervent supporter
of the Idle Park Talk Show. And then we have Mami and then Mankong, who is my own aunt and grandmom. And thank you for watching, Mami. politics is strong sometimes.
Politics. Yeah. Okay,
Right.
buddy.
Thank you very much, everybody. We'll talk again soon.
Yeah.
Yeah, bye.